Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Ramble. Today we're going to be talking about poll 79. Yes, Jagex just this morning came out with another quality of life blog post that we're going to be covering. Now, I did briefly review it this morning, and there's a lot of good stuff. So I'm going to share my thoughts as we go along. And also, I have to announce this. All of the Say rambles are now found on Spotify. So go down in the description right now, boys. Everyone go, even if you're not even going to watch it on Spotify, it would greatly help the algorithm on Spotify if you guys would go there, maybe listen to a few and give it a little rating. That would mean the world to me. It's completely free. It's just down. I mean, it's free to rate, obviously. Anyway, so if you guys want to check it out and support me down on Spotify, it did take me quite a bit to get every single 150 rambles on there. So if you guys want to support it, go down and drop a rating. You do need to listen to like I think one episode or something to be able to rate it. But anyway, enough sellout. We are going to be covering this, and let's just get right into it. So let's make sure the recording scene is good. Okay. Also, I did get your guys' feedback on the previous ramble talking about the little bar lower that where it's shouting out the channel members and everything else. A lot of you guys were pretty much fine with it, but a few of you had said it would be better if they were just still like things and then it like fades out and fades in instead of a scrolling thing. It's kind of distracting anyway. So I will get around to doing something with it, but hopefully it's not too distracting currently. All right, poll 79, point-based combat achievements and more. We're back with 2023's second quality of life poll, including the long-awaited points-based combat achievement system. Last year, we set out to get a little more consistent with our quality of life polls, with the aim of including 15 to 25 changes in each poll and hosting them every 2 months or so. There's a little bit of everything this time around, ranging from PVM to skilling to the wilderness, but where better to start than something you've been asking for ever since our last game jam? Points-based combat achievements. All right, let's take a little gander at this. During our October-November game jam in 2022, we spent some time working on some adjustments to combat achievements, following feedback we received when we pulled a combat achievements rewards expansion. Many players at the time expressed that combat achievements didn't feel rewarding enough for the amount of effort required, or that they were more than capable of completing a given tier and tiers beyond, but didn't feel as though the rewards available made grinding for Mossy Keys for Bryophyta tasks feel worthwhile. We suggested a similar system. Ooh, I got an easy clue. We got to pick that bad boy up. There we go. Where are we? We suggested a similar system to leagues where players would earn points for completing various combat achievements, with higher tiered achievements offering more points. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and it's something we get asked about every single day. Ask no longer because we're ready to pull them. Our design is simple and shouldn't change anything for players who have already completed any tier in particular. We've even got a few mock-up images from the original pitch to help illustrate exactly how this works. Okay. Step 1, complete a task and earn points. The points are indicated beneath the task on the interface, but we've included a reference table toward the end of the section. Step 2, earn enough points to fill this green bar at the top as you progress towards your next unlock. Of course, if you're thinking long-term and want to look towards unlocks beyond your current tier, you can view all the thresholds in one handy place, similar to in previous leagues. Okay, I see. Interesting. These thresholds are determined by how many points you would have if you'd completed every task in or below your current tier. Put simply, unlocking rewards from medium tier would require 115 points. This is equivalent to completing all 33 easy and all 41 medium combat achievements. Perhaps you just can't stand the Dagannoth Kings. Getting to their lair is a bit of a trek. Or you've grown fond of hill giants and couldn't possibly bring yourself to tackle Obor's combat achievements. Instead, you could earn points from higher tiers to push you up over the threshold. This means any players currently eligible for a specific rewards tier will remain eligible and won't have to do anything to reobtain rewards they've already unlocked. For quick reference, here's a table showing each of the tiers off with our proposed point system, including the points per task and how many points you need to unlock the rewards for a given tier. Okay, so obviously with Grandmaster you have to do everything, but yeah, so cool. I guess that kind of makes sense. So you get 5 points per master task, 6 for Grandmaster. This makes perfect sense. Okay, cool. We'll run a quick example by you using combat achievements progress spread across all of the tiers. So this is, I guess, an example. 21 easy tasks, blah, 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 blah. Okay, in total, this adventure has 384 points, which means they would have completed hard. See that? And it would be eligible for the hard tier of rewards since they only require 304 points. For their troubles, they'd be able to claim all easy, medium, and hard rewards that currently exist, but would have a sizable grind ahead to claim the elite tier. That's true. Yeah, this is insane. This is like what everyone like. This is like the most basic thing ever, and to basically have completed the hard one just through doing this is, I don't know. I guess it's fine, to be honest. Like, I don't really have a problem with this whole update rolling out. I think selfishly, I'm a little upset because I'm being held back by Grandmaster, and the only thing that I'm missing for Grandmaster is just doing TOA tasks. So in a perfect world, like, yeah, I would love to just like skip the stupid grind. Like, I don't want to do the TOA task. I will eventually when I get around to it. But like, yeah, I guess this is fine. It feels weird. I'm not even going to share my opinion. This is probably going to come out. I would like to see what your guys' thoughts are down in the comments about this whole arrangement. I know it's easier, which people like easy stuff. You just do a little bit and get your rewards. I don't know. It's fine. I think the main reason it's fine is because I don't really personally care, nor does anybody really care if you just have some of the combat achievements completed. The biggest flex and the thing that the thing that players don't want to get devalued is Grandmaster, which they've kept the exact same because you have to have all the points to get Grandmaster. So I think this system is fine. It's just weird. It feels like it would be like completing normal achievement diaries by just doing a few tasks here and there on some of the elite one. I don't know. It just feels strange, but whatever. If the community wants it, whatever. Okay, enough about farming NPCs. Let's talk about farming plants whose names you can't pronounce. What the fuck is this image right now? Like, what is even going on here? Tithe Farm. Whether you're trying to speed up your next farming level, looking to hang up your rake for good with auto weed, or chasing the farmer's outfit, you've probably set foot in Tithe Farm at some point. If you have tried your hand at a spotted Tithe Farm in the past, you'll know the experience isn't entirely without frustration. That's true. Other players can disrupt your experience by planting in your allotments, or you might have to leave right before you start earning points. You've expressed numerous gripes over the years, and we'd like to make some improvements. First up, I'm struggling right now. I apologize, guys. We'd like to let you get on with your farming in peace by making Tithe Farm into a solo instance to cut down on any potential griefing and to give you all an easier time jumping in and out of your favorite farming mini game. It's not our favorite. It's our least favorite. On top of that, we understand that earning no points until your 76th successful harvest makes your runs feel like a slog, especially when you can only bring in 100 seeds to start with. So we're proposing the following changes. For every 3 plants you turn in, you'll be awarded 1 point. For every 100 plants you turn in, you'll be awarded an additional 2 points. You can take in as many seeds as you like, so you don't need to leave after every 100 seeds. That's nice. Ultimately, this means you'd get 35 points, up from the current 25 for turning in 100 plants, while being punished much less for the odd mistake here or there, and being able to stay inside the farm longer by taking in extra seeds. If you're looking at the above changes and wondering how on earth you'd ever be able to spend all these extra points, don't worry, we've got you covered. For any wine enjoyers among you who are living, laughing, and loving Zamorak, what the hell am I reading? We'd like to double the number of Beloga's blessings per point from Farmer Gricoler's rewards shop. Currently, as players level their farming and increase their yield, they end up needing more of Beloga's blessings for each grape seed, meaning they'd have to spend even more time inside Tithe Farm if they're looking to stock up on Zamorak's grapes. We'd hope the proposed change might be of help to any of you trying to stock up on this delightfully devilish wine. For our next and final Tithe Farm trick, we'd like to add herb boxes, similar to those who might find at Nightmare Zone, to Farmer Gricoler's reward shop. We've seen requests for this over the years to add some extra long-term incentive to the minigame. Since Iron players can't buy the Nightmare Zone versions of these, we've opted to include an Iron-only poll question to figure out if this would be a welcome addition. Ooh. Okay, that is a good question. So this last one pulls question 6. If herb boxes are added to the reward shop, should iron players be able to obtain them? Now, I'll be completely honest. I don't actually even remember what is all in an herb box, you know? Yeah, the last time I even opened an herb box was like 8 years ago. So, Jesus, 8 years. Was it? It was 8 years ago. And yeah, I don't know. Is this a good thing for the game? On first glance, I say no. This is not healthy for iron players. But to be honest, like Iron Man mode is so much easier than it was in 2015. Like just, it's like I feel like I still have that mindset of being an Iron Man in the early days where like every single thing that would make the game mode easier was looked down upon. Like the whole community was freaking out and stuff. But I don't know. It is 2023 at this point. So is this a good thing? Plus, you have to remember, you're not just getting these from Nightmare Zone. You're getting these from the Tithe Farm. So in order to get herb boxes, you have to do Tithe Farm, which is inefficient in and of itself. So for those efficient Iron Men out there that are having a fucking meltdown right now, like just think about it for a second. Nobody's just going to be getting passive herb boxes like it is through Nightmare Zone. You'd have to do Tithe Farm. So I don't know. I think it's fine to give. I think at first thought it sounds like a bad idea, and then you think about it and it's like, whatever, send it. So that's my thoughts on it. I'd probably vote yes on this, to be honest. That's enough rest and relaxation for now. Back to some more PVM-centric changes. We've got loads to get through, so we'll start rattling them off a little quicker from here on out. Sleepy Tablet. Fasani's Nightmare can be a little draining. Can be a pretty draining boss. Jesus. Owing to its high intensity and long fight duration. On top of the fight itself, the run is there. The run there is great. I am becoming dyslexic doing more of these rambles. I swear to God, reading these blog posts early in the morning, I'm just like, brain, come on, fucking focus. If you're looking to get your 10,000 steps in a day, by the way, I did get my 10,000 steps in a day oh my God. When I think about Normal Nightmare, it's weird because Fasani's seems like it's been out forever, but Normal Nightmare, I remember me and Lake grinding it on Twitch for a year basically. And yeah, holy shit. Lake had calculated that he had spent like a week of in-game time running to Nightmare. A fucking week. Like, dude. I mean, that was the same with, I was probably a little bit lower. I was probably like 5 days or so, but he had calculated it up. 7 full days of just running to Nightmare. Holy shit. But less great if you're trying to chase a rare item and just want to get back to the grinding. The Sleepy Tablet is 1 out of 100 drop and adds a nearby teleport option to Draken's Medallion and is huge quality of life improvement for anybody looking to spend a lot of time at Nightmare. But going dry on this particular item can be pretty disheartening. It's true. Let's dump these logs real quick. There we go. All right. We'd like to give the Sleepy Tablet a drop mechanic similar to Vorkat said, where you'll be guaranteed to receive one as a drop if you hit 100 kill count without having obtained one already. For anybody already over 100 kill count and still chasing this nifty tablet, you'd receive it on your next Fasani's Nightmare kill. I think this is fine. I think this is a fine update. I think it should pass. And yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. Cool. Demonic Gorillas. These twisted simians were added to Old School alongside Monkey Madness 2 and have since become a staple grind for Iron players thanks to their Zenite shard drop. We'd like to modernize them a little bit and add a visual indicator for when they swap their attack style, similar to what we've done for the past for the Hunlif and Alchemical Hydra. This indicator wouldn't tell you exactly what style they're switching to, so you'll still have to step back or coin flip occasionally, but would cut down on the need to keep count of every attack for potentially thousands of kills. I honestly think it would be better to do it the opposite way. Indicate what style they're about to change to. Is that a bad thing? I feel like that's like an inherently good change, even if it makes it slightly easier. It just gets rid of the frustration, of having to just do a coin flip, just guess. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest. But that would be kind of cool if you could just guarantee take no damage if you're just focused enough. Additionally, we'll be making a small change that resets their HP if they've been damaged and left alone for a short while. That's nice. Which should alleviate some of the frustrations of being attacked by demonic gorillas, who won't provide you any loot when killed. Okay. The Hunlif, 2/1 mage. The Crystalline and Corrupted Hunlif are also enemies that like to keep you on your toes by changing their attack style. While they already have a visual indicator, we'd like to add a small audio cue whenever they switch styles. We'll aim for something a little more old school than an Aussie voiceover. Now, the voiceover is definitely the most old school, but no hard feelings if you'd like to stick to what you know. Blue Dragon Scales. This is an insane change right here, boys. Listen up. As part of Pole 78, we improved the viability of farming Cave Nightshade, since picking them up off the ground to make Poison Dynamite wasn't exactly the most riveting gameplay. Blue Dragon Scales are an herblore what the hell? It's an herblore. Come on. Secondary ingredient, primarily obtained by picking them up off the ground, meaning we've seen renewed requests for an alternate means of obtaining them to help players stock up on anti-fire potions. We'd like to make them obtainable through combat, giving you the ability to simply take the scales from various dragons. After all, they won't be needing them anymore. We're aiming to avoid having them come from interacting with blue dragon hide due to the volume of the hide already in game. There are a few types of blue dragon in game, ranging from pretty weak to fearsomely strong. Here's how many scales we reckon they provide. Baby blue dragons, 50% chance to drop 1 blue dragon scale. Adult blue dragons drop 2 noted blue dragon scales. Oh my god. Brutal blue dragons drop 3 noted blue dragon scales, and I'm pretty sure they also have that 5 noted drop, the ones in the catacombs, so you get even extra. So this is a guaranteed, by the way, guaranteed drop, guaranteed 3 noted blue scales every single time you get. I mean, this would be the adult blue dragons, I think, would be the most efficient to do. Wow, that's insane. This is good. And then Vorkath drops 5 noted every single kill. These drops would be an additional to normal loot, similar to bones and hides. Woo! I want that. I really want that. What do you guys think down in the comments? For those Iron Men especially, what do you guys think? Revenant Slayer Task Extension. Since the loot changes to Revenants alongside the Wilderness Boss rework, they've become a pretty appealing Wilderness Slayer task. We've seen a lot of requests for a task extension, similar to the likes of Necreals or Dust Devils, and we'd like to offer one as part of this poll. For the low price of 100 Slayer points, Cristelia would assign you between 100 and 150 Revenants, a healthy step up from the current range of 40 to 100. And any of you looking to obtain some of their elusive weapon drops, or just looking for a particularly rewarding task, for any of you, I meant. Okay. Trover Parchments, more Wilderness Slayer tweaks. By the way, I think this is fine. This is like, yeah, I'm completely indifferent to it. It's fine. More Wilderness Slayer tweaks. Trover Parchments are used to prevent players from losing their untradeable items on PvP deaths beyond level 20 Wilderness. They were added to the Wilderness Slayer Cave loot table alongside the release of Last Man Standing, where they were also obtainable for 30 points from Justine's reward shop. Since then, their cost in Justine's shop was reduced, from 30 to 18 points, but their drop rate via Wilderness Slayer was never adjusted. Ooh. We'd like to keep this one a little simple and have players receive 2 Trover Parchments as a drop instead of just the 1, as a little something extra for players looking to take the risk while completing their Slayer tasks. That's awesome. I like that. Okay. Swamp, and it's very quick to change that. They don't have to manipulate the drop table in any way. They're just giving you an extra one. Swamp Bark and Blood Bark Armor. These specialist upgrades to Split Bark Armor improve the power of your Bind and Blood spells. Swamp Bark Armor requires 50 magic and defense to equip, while Blood Bark Armor requires 60 magic and defense to equip. Despite having higher requirements than Mystic Robes, requiring only 40 magic and 20 defense, these fancy Bark Armors have weaker offensive magic bonuses and a higher cost, meaning they don't see a whole lot of use. We'd love to tweak these so that they're a little stronger than Mystic offensively. Additionally, we've seen suggestions in the past to rebalance these sets so that more of their unique buffing effects sit on the top and legs as opposed to the gloves and boots, I see, giving players the ability to fit them in around more conventional setups. Okay, I think I'm cool with that. Permanent volcanic mine access. Okay, Petrified Pete's seen his fair share of fresh faces since he added ore packs to his shop offerings, and he's absolutely swimming in Numulite. more than he even knows what to do with. Business is so good, in fact, that he's willing to offer you a one-time payment for entry to the volcanic mine for a one-off payment of 3,000 numulite, 100 times the typical entry fee. You'd be granted permanent access to the mine, similar to the permanent access option for drift net fishing. Okay, I'm cool with that. I like permanent access on things. Looting bag. This handy storage option is an absolute must-have for any wilderness adventures, allowing you to stock up on even more slots of any loot you obtain while enjoying the ambience of old school's notorious barren wasteland. We've seen a number of requests for another means of stocking up on these or being able to reobtain them with a little more ease. We'd like to add them to the Slayer shop similar to the Rune Pouch. Rune Pouches can be obtained or can be purchased for 75 last man standing points or 750 Slayer points. Since looting bags are available for 1 last man standing point, we'd like to offer them for 10 Slayer points. Okay, I think that's very fair, 10 Slayer points. I mean, to be fair, if you really want a looting bag, you just go kill like 5 mobs in the wilderness and you just get one passively anyway, so I'm okay with this. On top of all the above, the looting bag is an iconic item for any Ultimate Iron Man player. In keeping with that, we've got a couple of questions for any UIMs out there. If you can't conceive of life without a bank, feel free to carry on scrolling past the next 2 questions. Spice rack. Currently, Ultimate Iron players can't use the spice rack inside their player-owned house. Some of you have been asking us to lift this restriction, so let us know if this is something you'd like to see. Stash units. In a recent update, we allowed a greater range of items to count for Master Clue steps to be storable in stash units. When doing so, we blocked Ultimate Iron Man from storing Abyssal Tentacles, Guardian Boots, and Primordials, and said we'd pull this change specifically for Ultimates, as we've done for other items in the past. This is us making good on our promise that and giving you the chance to decide whether or not you'd like to see or you'd like some increased options for Gillinor's least convenient storage system. I'm not a UIM, so but I think that's totally fine. UIM game mode has been completely corrupted, so I mean not completely corrupted, but you guys know what I mean. It's easy escape now. When is hardcore ultimate coming out where you can't train construction and you can't build stash units and you can't even hold a looting bag? That's what I want, the most hardcore mode of all. And when you die, your account is just permanently deleted. It doesn't even stay on the high scores. You're just gone. Self-casting teleport item. In June 2018, we added the Escape Crystal as a consumable teleport item. Players can buy these in the Wizard's Tower or at Sinhaza for 75k. When used, players can teleport away from various dangerous activities, though some of them are only dangerous to hardcore group irons. They're great in a pinch, but in case of a dreaded disconnect, they don't do much beyond take up an inventory slot. We'd like to propose either a brand new item or an update to the Escape Crystal or Ring of Life that would teleport players to safety if they stop interacting with the client for a while. Ooh. For example, during a disconnect where you're unable to interact with the client, you'd log back in to find yourself in a safe location. In light of recent server issues, we feel this would be a welcome addition to provide some reassurance to any hardcore players among you. Just funny. It's funny how it's been like 7 years since the release of hardcore, and like they're just now being like, yeah, there's been like some server issues lately. Maybe we should help you guys, and so it doesn't hurt as bad when you lose your hardcore status. Jesus Christ, so late. All right, here's a rundown of what we'd like to propose and hear from you on. A new item or an upgrade to the Escape Crystal or Ring of Life that teleports to players after X seconds of not interacting with the client. This teleport would trigger when simply AFK for long enough or in cases such as disconnects. Players can customize exactly how long X seconds is and may wish to change it on the fly for different pieces of content. This item could be in the inventory or equipable. The item could be permitted to trigger on demand, similar to the current implementation of Escape Crystals on top of its automatic rescue service. The teleport respects standard teleport prevention restrictions. For example, the teleport would not be able to trigger beyond 30 wilderness or while teleblocked. Dude, this is actually a brilliant idea. This would be pretty cool. Just have a Ring of Life where, like, as soon as there's been no interaction whatsoever for, 20 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds, you just get teleported. It would be super annoying if you just like picked your mouse up for 10 seconds, got a drink or ate some chips or something, you get teleported out of top or something. But like, I don't know, there's potential here. I kind of like it. We'd love to hear from you on any ideas you might have to improve the design of this particular system. So make sure to get in touch and let us know your thoughts. Unpulled changes. Abyssal Lantern. The Abyssal Lantern is a staple in Guardians of the Rift. This handy light source lets players put their fire-making abilities to use by burning various logs in exchange for a variety of effects within the minigame. Our initial poll for Guardians of the Rift suggested that the Abyssal Lantern would be a reward players could purchase with Abyssal Pearls, similar to the Raiments of the Eye. However, during development, we didn't feel as though it made sense thematically to come from a shop rather than the Abyss, and we didn't want players to feel like they'd have to choose between the Raiments, or the Lantern, so we opted to make the Lantern a drop from the Rewards Guardian in hopes players could work towards both goals simultaneously. In the time since, you've made it clear that this decision missed the mark, especially those of you going particularly dry on this elusive offhand. As a result, alongside other poll 79 changes, we'll be giving the player, by the way, this is unpolled, giving the players the option to purchase the Abyssal Lantern from Apprentice Felix at a cost of 1,500 Abyssal Pearls. This should act as a bad luck protection for players going well beyond the drop rate, while still affording you the opportunity to get lucky and obtain an Abyssal Lantern as a drop when looting the Rewards Guardian. Okay, that's cool. For those people that finally do get 1,500 pearls and they're like, man, I still don't have a lantern, let me get this. They're going to buy their lantern, and then the very next game, they're going to get a lantern from the reward search. Unfortunate. Lauren's keys. Any of you familiar with Wilderness Slayer will be no stranger to these. Any monster killed while on a Crystallia Slayer task has a chance to drop Laren's keys, which can be used for a roll on Laren's small and big chests for extra loot to help amp up your profits. Okay, genuine question. If you have ever looted the Laren's small chest, type a 1 down in the comments. There is no way that any of you have ever opened the small chest. It's like the most stupid chest of all time. You get less loot. You don't even have the option to get Laren's. It's in multi-combat. Just keep in mind, the one like higher up is in singles, so it's literally safer to loot there. There's just no way. Why is the Laren small chest even a thing still? Like, Jesus. While the keys aren't tradable, they are dropped to whoever killed you upon PvP death, meaning some players have taken to selling their keys by accepting GP and allowing the buyer to kill them for a stack of keys. This effectively makes them tradable with an extra step, and that extra step leaves players vulnerable to scammers and swindlers. As a result, we like to make them tradable. This means Wilderness Slayers could just sell off their keys for a quick profit, or likely make a little bit more by taking the risk and using them to open the Laren's big chest. We're not polling this one since its primary intent is to combat scamming. But we're open to any feedback you might have in case there are issues with this change we might not have foreseen. Next, cough. A word that strikes fear into the heart of anybody with much experience at the Zerosian God Wars General. Since Nex's release last year, and we've seen a number of complaints about people griefing Nex masses by intentionally spreading the infection, resulting in a cacophony? Cacophony? What the hell? To cut down on this griefing, whether intentional or by players trying to secure... Yeah, oh, now you bring it up. Now you bring up the fact that you literally made a fucking CA task that is cough the whole kill. You bastards. Whether intentional or by players trying to secure the I should see a doctor combat achievement, we'd like to upgrade the face mask and Slayer helmet to prevent the cough spreading to you from other players while worn. Thank you. This would be in addition to its existing effect where the frequency of your coughs is reduced while worn. Okay, so if you have the Slayer helmet or a face mask equipped already and the cough is trying to spread, you won't get it. That's amazing. So in masses, guys, bring your Slayer helmets. Zealots robes. These blessed garms, or blessed garms, why am I saying blessed? Are obtained as a reward from looting gold chests in the Shade Catacombs. As part of the Shade of Morton mini... Whoa! They spelled Morton wrong. What the fuck? It's Morton. Come on, guys. Bastards. I'm double downing on it. Or I'm double downing. Jesus. Okay, I need help, guys. Somebody please call an ambulance for me. Don't actually do that. Each piece provides 1.25% chance to prevent bones or ensouled heads from being consumed while you're training prayer. We'd like to extend this effect to work on the ectofuntus. Okay, good. They spelled this right at least. Ectofuntus. To give you a chance to save your bone meal while making your offerings. Ideally without any controversy about the etymology of the word ectofuntus. That's a wrap on Pulse. How are they doing this? Like, they're making a point about, like, it's not Ectofunctus, but then they literally spell Morton wrong. That's a wrap on Poll 79's Unpulled Changes. But stick with us because we've got one more question and 3 things we'd like to get you talking about so that we can have your feedback. Okay, so let me dump these redwoods real quickly. Okay, what is this? Future changes. Skilling pets. Here's our first of 3 discussion points focused on what exactly is a skilling pet in your collective eyes. If that sounds weird, it's probably because it is, but hear us out. Okay, for those of you not in the know, if you're astronomically unlucky and reach 200 mil XP in a skill with an associated pet, the drop rate of that pet will be increased by a factor of 15. For example, if you've hit 200 mil XP in woodcutting without receiving a beaver pet, you'll be 15 times more likely to be a beaver receiver whenever you chop trees in the future. Understandably, this impacts a relatively small number of players, but we've seen some calls recently for the Phoenix pet obtained at Wintertod to be given the same drop chance increase for players with over 200 mil firemaking XP. This brings us to our final poll question and opens up a wider discussion. Should the drop rate of the Phoenix pet be increased 15x for players with 200 mil firemaking? I think it's fine, honestly. I know this is going to open up the floodgates to every other thing, Temperos pet, any sort of like other skilling pet, herbivore, like just things like that where everything's going to be 15x, but I think it's actually fine to do. We're interested in this because it could be argued that this sets a precedent. Do you consider the Phoenix to be the fire-making pet, even though it's technically the Wintertod pet? We believe a lot of players do, and this opens up a wider discussion about the potential for pets and skills that wouldn't typically receive a pet to be added via slightly less conventional means. For example, could Gnome Delivery reward a pet that feels like a cooking pet? Or perhaps you could obtain a smithing adjacent follower from Giant's Foundry. We want to work with you and understand where or not pets like these are something you'd be interested in. And if so, what kind of locations, activities do you feel represent various skills without a current pet? We're not looking to force pets into skills if you don't feel as though there are strong fits, but we're looking to find out whether there are places you do think make sense for pets similar to the Phoenix that we could explore in more detail at a later date and in a future poll. If you're at all interested in the potential for new additions to your menagerie, I'm struggling, but I'm getting them right. I think it's menagerie, right? That little house, the little pet house in your house. Make sure to tell us how you feel about this topic. Splash weapons. For clarity's sake, we'll be referencing the splash weapons in this section. A splash weapon is a weapon that, when equipped, will guarantee 0 damage when used in combat. With both the 2022 Christmas event and Old School's 10th birthday event, we've unintentionally added weapons that do this, only to remove both of them and say we'd like to talk about them more in the future. The future is now. For many of you reading, these wouldn't be particularly impactful. For the level 3 skillers among you, however, this would be a significant and seemingly welcome change. Many level 3 skillers write Slayer off, even though it's possible to train Slayer without gaining combat XP. You can expect to spend around 7,000 hours, more or less, AFK in the Varrock Museum. Slayer used to be a little more viable as a grind for those players before the removal of Partner Slayer, meaning some members of this community have been able to achieve XP rates in the past that are no longer possible. Without getting bogged down in the finer details at this point, a splash weapon makes Slayer a more attainable goal for these accounts. If you ask us, a meager 1,300 hours for 99 Slayer seems like light work, but we've seen many members of the level 3 skiller community reach out and ask us to reconsider our stance on these weapons, to give them new goals to strive for, and even unlock a handful of extra quests. It's easy enough for us to do, but we'd like to hear from the skillers and wider player base to figure out exactly how you'd feel about us adjusting some of the fun weapons in Old School to guarantee zeros and expand horizons of some restricted accounts. I think that's personally fine. Obviously, I'm not in that niche, so we would need to hear from people that are actually going to be affected by this, but I think that's fine. Blood, Death, and Soul Runes. Blood rune upkeep has been the bane of any Iron player tough enough to obtain uniques from the Theater of Blood ever since the release of Old School's second raid. Over the years, we've seen numerous calls for some kind of adjustment that doesn't make maintaining weapons like the Scythe of Viter or Sanguinesti staff feel like a chore. In the past, we've been apprehensive about adding things like blood packs to shops due to concerns about so-called shopscape or shopman mode not being the most riveting gameplay. For blood runes in particular, we aim to alleviate some of this frustration with the true blood altar and blood essence, allowing players to put their runecraft to use to try and ease the upkeep of these weapons. For some rough napkin math, assuming you're using blood essence, wearing the raiments of the eye, and being pretty speedy on your true blood altar runs, you can craft around 10,400 blood runes per hour. These 10,400 blood runes equate to around 3 hours of use for the Scythe of Viter, or around 2.3 hours for the Sanguinesti staff. Meaning we still see calls from players to make some kind of adjustment, allowing them to put these weapons to use without feeling guilty about the cost. While blood runes are the main offender here for players, we've started to see calls for improved sources of soul runes, now that Tunic Shadow is happy to eat them up in exchange for immense power. Death runes also crop up from time to time, with the focus being more on the quantity of them alongside blood runes that Irons buy for Ice Barrage while training their Slayers, so we'd like to be able to address those too. We'd like to open this discussion up and land on a proper solution that works for all of you. We're mentioning all of this now to try and gather information on the best ways for us to do this. In the past, we've seen a handful of common solutions that should provide a solid basis for discussion. Add blood and soul rune packs to shops for a high cost. If we were to do this, we'd likely add death packs as well so that it doesn't feel like the odd one out. Plus, you'll likely be buying a lot of these on the road to 99 Slayer as an iron, so we're sure you'd appreciate fewer world hops. Okay. Improving various skilling methods further. Reducing the rate at which weapons like the Scythe and Sanguinesti and Tunic Shadow consume charges. Consider expensive methods to make some of these weapons permanent, similar to corrupting the Bow of Ferdinand. Okay, so I actually do have quite a few thoughts on this. One is the Scythe, even if you hit 3 zeros, you are consuming 3 blood runes and a vial of blood. Now, straight up, I've been saying this for a while, get rid of the vials of blood from the Scythe. Get rid of that entire well. Just get rid of it. Make it so you can charge a Scythe from your inventory with just blood runes. Get rid of the vials of blood being a necessary component of it. It's so stupid. It's just stupid. And you have to go to like one individual location to charge it. It's nonsense. So in a perfect world, it would be you can charge your Scythe with just blood runes. Now, this also would help with this secondary thing that I want for the Scythe. The Scythe should only use a blood rune on successful hits. So if you swipe with the Scythe and it hits 3 red splats, that would consume 3 blood runes. But if you swipe and it hits 0, it doesn't consume anything. Now, you could still hit a 0 and it was actually a successful hit, but it was a 0. So that maybe could count, you know? But that would be the most optimal, in my personal opinion. It should be that way. You should still be spending more, per actual hit. But, like, I don't know. I just think that's a better way to go about it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, the Sanguinesti, in my personal opinion, should only cost 2 blood runes per hit. Yeah, that's just what I think. 3 is just aggressive, especially when you compare it to, like, the Shadow. So I would personally say Sanguinesti should just be dropped to 2 blood runes per cast. And the Scythe should be, whenever you hit a splat, it consumes 1 blood rune. So my opinions on that. Improving various skilling methods further. I really like this. I think that... Okay, so when Desert Treasure 2 comes out, I'm pretty sure they're going to be trying to release the true Soul Altar, which is in Menopause, according to RS3 lore at least. So personally, there should be a... Okay, well, what if they did this? You know how, like, there's a blood essence? What if the blood essence changed into a different item called, like, I don't know, some other, like, essence, catalytic essence or something like that, where any catalytic rune gives you 50% more. So most people would still use it for blood runes, of course, because blood runes are expensive, but you could also use that for death runes. If you're crafting death runes or you're crafting nature runes or you're crafting whatever runes, you could still use the blood essence, but it would be like a catalytic essence. That's one idea. Not like too crazy about it, but at least it's something, sparking conversation. Also, what they could do is allow blood rune crafting to be double at 99. I know that sounds very aggressive, but like it's called rune crafting for a reason. And when you're not making much money from rune crafting at 99, it's just stupid. I really do think that it's time for, you should be able to craft double blood runes at 99. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge change. Blood runes will plummet again, but like that would just make blood rune crafting so good. Now, keep in mind, you must be 99 RC to have this. So a lot of people don't even want to train RC beyond 99, but for those that do, you'd be making bank. So ultimately, we're not sure that there's any one right answer, or perhaps the best path forward is a combination of the above. That's what we'd like to hear from you on, in the hopes of alleviating concerns many of you have had for a long time. So if you've got strong opinions on any of these catalytic runes in particular, get in touch with us on any of the usual channels and share them with the world. Okay. With that, our initial poll 79 blog comes to a close with 22 questions, 4 unpolled changes, and 3 wider discussion points. We're certain you'll have a lot to say. We'll be keeping a close eye on any of and all feedback, and we'll be sure to update this blog with any changes resulting from the discussions we have with you all. Cool. Okay. I think this was a great poll blog. I think there's a lot of things that have been needing to be addressed in a blog, and I think this is really healthy changes. I'm pretty happy with all of it. A little bit of stuff I'm kind of indifferent toward, but for the most part, I'm happy. But even if like all of this stuff passed, I wouldn't really have a problem with it. So let me know down in the comments, guys, what your guys' thoughts are on certain things, certain points. Maybe if I misread something, I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Thank you guys, as always, for listening to the rambles. By the way, if you didn't check out the very beginning of the video, all of the rambles are now on Spotify, and I'll continue to upload rambles to Spotify. So if you guys are at work or something and just want an audio only version, go down in the description, follow me on the Sebe Rambles on Spotify. Be sure to give it a little rating if you'd like to support it. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys very much, and have a wonderful rest of your guys' day.